A defamation case in New York has escalated into one of the most consequential legal battles involving a sitting first lady in modern American history. What began as a threat letter has transformed into a courtroom confrontation with allegations so serious they threaten to upend the public narrative surrounding Melania Trump's past and her connection to Jeffrey Epstein. This is not speculation. These are claims made under oath in active litigation. And the timing, amid national crisis and a high-budget documentary release, has created a storm of questions that demand answers. In October 2025, Melania Trump's attorneys sent journalist Michael Wolff a formal demand: retract claims made in his reporting or face a billion-dollar defamation lawsuit. Wolff's response was unexpected. Instead of backing down, he filed a declaratory judgment action in New York under the state's anti-SLAPP statute, a legal maneuver designed to protect free speech by forcing plaintiffs to prove their case early or withdraw. In recent filings submitted this January, Wolff's legal team laid out the allegations Melania's lawyers are attempting to suppress. The documents detail claims regarding her alleged involvement in Jeffrey Epstein's social network, her introduction to Donald Trump, and what Wolff describes as her presence in environments where exploitation occurred. The central accusation that Melania Trump's relationship with Donald Trump did not begin at a Manhattan fashion event in 1998, as the official account suggests, but was instead orchestrated through Jeffrey Epstein's network, and that her first intimate encounter with Trump allegedly occurred aboard Epstein's private aircraft, infamously known as the Lolita Express. Wolff claims to possess recorded interviews with Epstein in which the financier allegedly states, "I was the one who introduced them. The first time he slept with her was on my plane." The public record shows Melania Knaus met Donald Trump in 1998 through modeling agent Paolo Zempoli. Wolff's filing challenges this narrative, arguing that while Zempoli may have facilitated the introduction publicly, Jeffrey Epstein was the underlying architect. According to the lawsuit documents, Wolff alleges Melania was part of what he terms Epstein's culture of models of indeterminate age, individuals who served as social facilitators at gatherings attended by powerful men. The filing suggests Melania was a recurring presence at these events prior to becoming publicly linked to Trump. Photographic evidence from the year 2000 at Mar-a-Lago shows Donald Trump, Melania Knaus, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell together. Wolff's legal team argues this image reflects not a casual acquaintance, but evidence of sustained social proximity during a period when Epstein's criminal activities were actively occurring. Wolff's attorneys are now seeking to depose Melania Trump. They intend to ask her directly, did you witness minors at Jeffrey Epstein's residences? Did you receive financial assistance from Epstein? Did he facilitate your immigration status? One of the most scrutinized aspects of Melania Trump's biography is her 2001 EB-1 visa, a classification reserved for individuals with extraordinary ability in fields such as science, arts, education, or athletics. Recipients are typically Nobel laureates, Olympic athletes, or internationally acclaimed artists. Melania Knaus was a working model with a modest portfolio at the time. Wolff's filing raises the question, who sponsored or facilitated this visa? The implication in the court documents is that Jeffrey Epstein, known for leveraging his connections to assist young women with immigration matters, may have played a role. This is not confirmed, but the question is now part of the legal record, and it is one Melania's legal team has not publicly addressed. Against this legal backdrop, Amazon MGM Studios is releasing a $40 million documentary about Melania Trump this Friday, January 30th, directed by Brett Ratner, a filmmaker who himself left Hollywood amid sexual misconduct allegations. The film is positioned as a biographical portrait of the First Lady. The timing has drawn intense scrutiny. The documentary's release comes during a period of national unrest following the fatal shooting of ICE nurse Alex Pretty by immigration enforcement officers in Minneapolis. Protests have erupted across multiple cities, with the National Guard deployed to maintain order. On the same evening that unrest intensified, Melania Trump hosted a private White House screening of the documentary. Attendees reportedly included Mike Tyson, Apple CEO Tim Cook and director Brett Ratner. The optics, a glamorous premiere amid civil crisis, have been widely criticized. According to tracking data cited by The Hollywood Reporter, box office projections for the film are extremely low, despite claims from the Trump administration that screenings are selling out. Industry analysts report minimal advance ticket sales. The documentary's release appears designed to counter the narrative emerging from Wolff's lawsuit. It is, in effect, competing storytelling, one version controlled and sanitized, and the other adversarial and under legal scrutiny. In defamation law, truth is an absolute defense, and if Wolff can demonstrate that his claims are substantially accurate or that he had reasonable grounds to believe them at the time of publication, Melania's case collapses. More importantly, if the case proceeds, Wolff's attorneys gain access to discovery, emails, records, calendars, and depositions. This is why the stakes are so high. Melania Trump is not simply seeking monetary damages. She is attempting to prevent the legal process from compelling her to answer questions under oath about her past, associations with Epstein and Trump during the late 1990s and early 2000s. And by threatening the lawsuit, she triggered Wolff's preemptive legal action. By filing in New York under anti-SLAPP statutes, Wolff has effectively reversed the pressure. Now Melania must prove her case or risk dismissal and public embarrassment. One phrase from Wolff's filing has resonated beyond the courtroom: she didn't ask questions. According to the legal documents, Epstein allegedly described Melania as someone who didn't ask questions, a characterization that suggests her value in Trump's world was discretion, not curiosity. If accurate, this implies that silence was not incidental to her role, but foundational. For 25 years, Melania Trump has maintained a carefully cultivated public persona, reserved, enigmatic, largely silent on matters of controversy. Wolff's lawsuit reframes that silence not as elegance, but as complicity or survival. The broader context cannot be ignored. In 2026, the Trump administration has revoked press credentials for several major news organizations, and international partnerships with leaders like Viktor Orban and Vladimir Putin have created new media channels that promote narratives favorable to the administration while suppressing critical coverage. The Melania documentary fits within this ecosystem. It is not merely a film. It is a strategic communications asset designed to flood the information space with a preferred narrative at a moment when damaging legal filings are circulating. But Wolff represents a variable outside that system. His tapes, his filings, and his willingness to go to court have created a counter-narrative that cannot be easily suppressed. The legal process will continue. If Wolff's case proceeds to discovery, we may see documents, communications, and testimony that have never been public. If Melania's team seeks dismissal, they must argue that Wolff's claims are so baseless that no reasonable person would believe them, a difficult standard given the photographic and circumstantial evidence already in the public domain. The documentary will premiere. It will be analyzed not only for what it says, but for what it omits. Comparisons between the film's narrative and the legal filings will be inevitable. And the country will watch not because this is entertainment, but because the questions being asked in a New York courtroom go to the heart of power, complicity, and accountability. Michael Wolff may be wrong. His sources may be unreliable. His tapes may be inadmissible. But the fact that these allegations are being made under oath in a legal form with the threat of perjury and discovery means they cannot be dismissed as gossip. Melania Trump has spent decades as a figure of mystery. This lawsuit may finally force her to speak, not in a controlled interview, not in a scripted documentary, but in a deposition under penalty of law. The Melania documentary releases January 30th. The court filings are public record. The tapes, if they exist, may soon be authenticated. For the first time, the question is not what Melania Trump wants us to believe. It is what she can prove and what she cannot deny. The courtroom is waiting.